Welcome into Seattle Seahawks today. I am your host, Tom Downey. On today's video, we're taking a look at some rumors out there around the Seahawks, and we'll begin with a potential extension for one Jamal Adams. ESPN mentions the Seahawks plan, and they want to extend Adams this year when he has 1 year left on his contract. Not a pending free agent. They're trying to get ahead on this contract. Now, depending on the structure of the deal, it could actually bring down Jamal Adams' nearly $10 million cap hit for 2021. Now, Adams this past year for Seattle, after they gave up a haul to acquire him from the New York Jets, was very impactful. 83 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, the most ever by a defensive back. He also wasn't the best in coverage, where he was targeted a pretty decent amount, allowed 78% of his passes towards him to be completed, all per Pro Football Reference, by the way. 430 yards, no touchdowns, but he wasn't impactful in the coverage game. That's not the end of the world because he was so impactful as a blitzer and in the run game. He checked off 2 of the 3 major boxes you're looking for out of a significant box safety, and he played through a ton of injuries as well. Overall, I think the Seahawks are very pleased and happy with the way Jamal Adams fared this year. The question mark becomes just how much money is Jamal Adams angling to get on his upcoming contract? If he only wants to be the highest paid safety in the NFL, let's say $15 million even, I think the Seahawks jump all over that right now and give him a 4-year, 5-year, however long deal at $15 million per year. The question mark becomes, does he look to be paid like more than just a safety? I think his agent is going to ask for it. Jalen Ramsey also got $21 million per year on this list. I don't see any way in which Adams even remotely asks for something resembling a Myles Garrett contract. But could he start asking for $20 million a year? Maybe. And that's where the potential issue lies. Just how much money is Adams going to ask for? Now, knowing we don't fully have a great understanding of that, I think Adams' extension is a key priority and should be one for the Seahawks and, of course, for Seahawks fans too. So do you guys want to re-sign Jamal Adams? If so, I want you guys to like today's video. I'm sure most of you guys do, so I'm certainly going to like it. If you agree with me, like the video. Speak with the power of your vote. Let's go to a pending free agent. That is Chris Carson. Now, the Athletic put out a very well thought out and well written piece in terms of what does the future look like for Carson. They predicted in the end he was going to leave, and I think they're right on that front. Now, Chris Carson's volume dipped this year. That's where they were at. They didn't run the ball as much. They let Russ cook, and although his efficiency stayed high, Carson wasn't as impactful from a pure volume perspective. But he helped in the passing game, and when he was banged up, which is an issue, by the way, in terms of a long-term deal, the likes of Carlos Hyde and DJ Dallas and Travis Homer and Rashad Penny were not good enough. It was very clear that Chris Carson was the best back on this team. But even in an offense that wants to run the football under Pete Carroll, they haven't normally paid backs big money. Chris Carson's not going to get franchise tagged, but guess what he's searching for? Big money. When Carson called himself a top 5 player at his position, what he was saying was he wants to be paid like a top 5 player at his position. I don't really think the Seahawks are even going to consider paying him $12 million a year. I'm not sure how many other teams will either. But I do think there's a very real possibility Carson ends up getting a top 10 back contract. I think about it. The running back market is so weird in today's NFL, right? Like Kenyon Drake was on the transition tag. Melvin Gordon overplayed his hand and to settle for an $8 million deal, which I think Carson can end up getting, by the way, on the open market. And then Saquon Barkley, who is a rookie on a first-year, or not a rookie, but is on a first-year contract, he's a top 10 highest paid guy. So I think Carson has a real chance of getting $8 million per year. And I don't think Seattle will pay him that amount of money because that's not how they do business, and frankly, I agree with them. So will Chris Carson re-sign with Seattle? This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down, and get your votes in. Y for yes, or type in N for no. Let's go to Russell Wilson now, where the drama continues, although this time it's about some MVP talk once again. Amid all the drama about Russ wanting offensive linemen and teams calling for trades, blah, 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 Russell Wilson has some high MVP odds on BetUS. Now, he continues to push for a pass-focused offense, and if he plays like he did in the first 7 games of 2020, he might just win NFL MVP. If he plays like he did the last 9 games, there's going to be some changes very soon for Seattle. So here are those MVP odds from BetUS. Patrick Mahomes, the betting favorite, no surprise there, at plus 500. Aaron Rodgers, plus 700. Both Josh Allen and Tom Brady, plus 1,000. And then Russell Wilson right there, actually tied for 5th with Matthew Stafford at plus 1,200. So what do you guys think? Will Russ win MVP? Type 1 for yes, he will, or type in 0 for no. Now, for those of you typing in your 1 for yes, I would strongly recommend you go place a bet right now because the odds are probably only going to go up, and if they go down, you don't want to bet on them anyway. Chatsports.com/bet. That URL will take you right into the BetUS site to sign up and deposit. Don't forget to use that URL and the promo code right there, Seahawks 125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. Now, don't blow all of your deposit bonus on one day. That's a terrible idea. But how about you take, let's say, $20 of your extra 125 when you put down $100 and bet it on Russ to win MVP. At plus 1,200 odds, that $20 becomes $240. That's a major return on investment. Plus, of course, you get the initial $20 back. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and then use that promo code Seahawks125 to get the deposit bonus. Let's go to another pending potential free agent, I should say, Carlos Dunlap, who has a significant cap hit this year. There's no dead money, so it's not a surprise when ESPN's Brady Henderson reports there's a very real chance the Seahawks choose to cut Carlos Dunlap, save $14.1 million on their cap, and then try to re-sign him after seeing what the market looks like in free agency. When Dunlap came over as part of that very cheap trade, in terms of what the Seahawks gave up from the Bengals, he had a massive and major impact, in a positive way, of course, on this defense. 6 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 14 quarterback hits. He was the team's best pass rusher, and that includes Jamal Adams, quite frankly. So he's a big part of this team, at least he was last year, but the money is a lot, and that's a problem for a team tight on cap space. So do you guys want to bring back Carlos Dunlap? I do. I think it has to be a sort of restructure or a release and re-sign type of move like ESPN suggested. So get your votes in here. A for yes or B for no. Now, if the Seahawks do end up making a move around Carlos Dunlap or in general make a splashy move, like say another major trade like they did for Jamal Adams, just like we did for Adams and Dunlap, we'll make a video on it. If you want to stay updated on everything that's going on around the Seahawks, the drama, or just the more normal news stuff, hit that big red button and subscribe. It's youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Now, if you do lose Carlos Dunlap, Alden Smith makes some sense as a potential replacement, listed by PFF as a top target for the Seahawks. He was a great surprise for Dallas this past year. I do want to make note, and this is important in the end, Alden Smith was kind of a tale of two halves for him. The first 5 games, including a game in which he absolutely dominated the Seattle Seahawks offensive line, he was awesome. 3 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. His pressure rate was an almost off-the-chart 17%. Over the last 11 games, in which he may not have quite been 100%, it dropped to 1 sack. The pressure rate more or less got cut in half. He wasn't the same player. So in the end, cost will be a significant factor here as it relates to Alden Smith. Much like Chris Carson, although he's older and plays a different position, this might be his best chance to truly cash in on a big-time deal. I don't think Seattle will win very many bidding wars this particular offseason. But if you lose Dunlap, remember, Benson Mayowa is also a free agent. So that leaves L.J. Collier. Darrell Terry hopefully is actually able to play, and Alton Robinson out there at defensive end. That's not going to get the job done. So if Dunlap's not back, and even if you bring back Mayowa, you're probably looking for another option. So I think Alden Smith makes a lot of sense for Seattle as a potential Carlos Dunlap replacement. Of course, we won't know what happens there for at least a couple more weeks.